Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Ten Types, as I show my uncommon fossil.
Glad to be here, and I think today is kind of a part two episode, if I'm correct.
Yes, but you don't have to have seen part one. In fact, if you're watching this on a video form, you can see we got a tier list here. Tier lists are always kind of fun, kind of, little, I don't know if lighthearted is quite the right word, but they're fun, like discussions about stuff, ranking stuff. And again, as you said, it's kind of part two because we're ranking the cards from Delta Reign. Well, I'd say Delta Reign, Storm Emeralda, the Japanese expansion. And part of the cards, a good chunk were revealed previously. So we rank those. Today we're ranking, obviously, the rest. We're not ranking all the cards because there's a lot of cards in the set. A lot of them are just, not super interesting. But first, I want to talk about a couple of cards that we already talked about, and there are some thoughts I have because the set is out in Japan. It's been played a little bit.
Okay.
So there are two cards that I think I might want to move up the tier list, though I'm not sure. Though they are like performing decently well. So first of all, there's two cards in B tier here. There's the character, and there's Talonflame EX. Currently, Talonflame EX is doing pretty decently in Japan. So I don't know if it necessarily should be going up the tier list all the way to A tier. A tier is pretty good. The Talonflame EX, you can cheat into play. You can just play it down if you have a Mega Colorless Pokemon. And then you have for your treat, you have a decent attack there. So I think it's a solid Pokemon that is very easy to slot into decks and is seeing a good chunk of play with Mega Kangaskhan. So I don't know if it necessarily should be going up, but I do think it's pretty solid there. I don't know if you have too much to add
Okay.
on that card. I know you
The-
pushed back a little bit against it last episode, or like last time we talked about these cards, but it is, I think, pretty good.
is this the best of the cards in terms of how they're doing in Japan?
Uh, it's the best of the ones that we currently have on the tier list. There's one new
Okay, so
card
when
that
it
is seeing potentially more play.
okay, I mean, yeah, obviously it can go potentially in any deck. It's colorless.
Yeah, well, any
Um,
deck that plays the colorless Omega.
right. Right. So yeah. No, that's fine. I would think B tier. I think it's going to be tough for it to get into A tier. Um, Although it's not its own deck per se, so it's something that goes in a deck, so it's a little different.
Yeah, and I will say Cacturn hasn't really seen play so far in Japan, at least too much. I mean, the set like came out at the time of recording this. I was recording actually 2 days before releasing it. It's been out for like I've seen 1 day's worth of results, maybe two. I'm not sure,
Okay.
like 1.5. And then the other card that's interesting is a card I think you kind of like, which is Adventuring Lantern, which is the item searching for a basic fire and a basic lightning Pokemon, revealing them, putting them into your hand.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, it's kind of meant to be paired with the Mega Rayquaza EX. The Mega Rayquaza EX isn't super good. It's being played in Japan some, unsurprisingly. I don't think it's very good. We ranked it in D tier. That's not so good, but
Yep.
it is intended to be paired there. It doesn't even have particularly strong synergy with that, but it is interesting. I saw someone playing it in well, there are a couple of new cards that this synergizes with, which we'll talk about. But
Okay.
also I saw it played in an Iron Thorns list, which I thought was pretty interesting. Obviously Iron Thorns is a lightning Pokemon,
Yeah.
but you're mostly colorless, so you can chuck in a couple of fire energies. Strangely enough, the list did not run crisp, and it ran like 6 total basic energies. Um,
Okay.
and it
Hmm.
was like running a bunch of special energies, including the new voltaic energy, which is pretty good, honestly, for Iron
Yep.
Thorns and just in general. But regardless, I thought that was an interesting thing to mention there. I know you're a lover of all things ability lock, of course, right?
Yeah. Is the Thorns deck just like a quad Thorns, by the way, or is it running
Yeah,
something else?
yeah. No, it's like a
Quad Thorns.
traditional quad Iron Thorns
Okay.
list there. But I guess honestly, let's talk about. I mean, is there something you want to talk about first, or
Yeah. Well, let me ask you: do you think Adventuring Lantern should be up from D tier maybe to C tier?
um,
Are you-
it's probably so. This is like a tier list where we are ranking them within the tiers. It's probably not the second worst card in the set.
Okay.
Um, I could honestly see it in C tier if you want. Yeah, I could see it there.
I mean, we need to move it up, right? We should do that before we start, or at least move it like toward the. It's like better than Mega Rayquaza, right? It's at least top of D tier.
Yeah, no, I'd say let's put it bottom of C tier for now. Honestly, it might even be better than Yummy Onigiri as well. I don't know. I mean, neither card's amazing.
Okay. I no, I mean, but in terms of to start, do you want to start with the big thing in
Yeah.
the house in the set?
Yeah. Wait. So sorry. Where are we putting Adventuring Lantern? Are we putting it above Yomi Onigiri?
It's up to you. Where do you think?
Yeah. Let's do that, I guess. And
Okay.
then I guess what do you think the big thing is? There's like a couple of big things from this set, in my opinion.
Well, in terms of the car, I think it's the bug out mechanic in
Yeah,
those
I think Bug
cards.
Out's pretty cool. It's definitely what I'm most excited for from this set. And Bug Out, if you're not familiar, Bug Out's actually something that is already in the TCG internationally. We got it in Pitch Black with Sizzlipede, with the attack, of course, Bug Out. It says it's 3 colors here on a basic. There are 3 total basics with the attack Bug Out, and as well as 1 evolution. And the 3 basics all cost 3 colors. And you reveal the bottom 7 cards of your deck, which is interesting. Interact with the bottom of your deck, and then
Yep.
you do 50 damage for each Pokemon you find there that has Bug Out. And then you shuffle the Pokemon revealed they are back into your deck and discard the others. So I'm rereading this. Does this shuffle back Pokemon that don't have Bug Out? Like at first assumed it was just Pokemon with Bug Out. It shuffled back,
Um.
but now I'm reading this. It shuffles everything, right?
Well. Oh, I see. You're right. I was just thinking it was bug out Pokemon, but yeah, if it says should then shuffle any reveal Pokemon, yeah. So I guess it shuffles back all Pokemon and gets rid of the energy and the trainers.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. It doesn't really matter too much, but it is a thing, I suppose. But then obviously interact with the bottom of the deck's interesting. Then there are
Yeah.
3 new Pokemon with Bug Out. We have a Masquerain here, the stage 1, which is grass. For 1 grass energy, do the same thing there. It has 110 HP, and the basic has 50, not amazing there. And then we see Combi. Combi has the same thing, and it again has 50 HP. And this is, grass, a basic with 3 colors attack cost there. And then you have Spinarak, which is darkness, with 60 HP here, and you
Yeah.
reveal the bottom 7 cards, obviously with Bug Out, doing the same thing for that same basic attack cost. So some different type coverage, though I wouldn't say it's particularly amazing or impressive there.
Yeah. I mean, so you're hitting for lightning weakness,
No,
uh, fire, fighting, and psychic, right?
um,
With the full set of cards.
sorry,
Oh
what?
no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong cards.
Are
I
you looking at
take that back.
the
Just
Thunders?
grass, darkness, and fire. Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're hitting those weaknesses, which are weaknesses on Grass hits a few decent Pokemon to our weakness. I'd say the best one would be, I guess, Ensorark EX, which is like pretty solid, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's standing out like crazy. And then you also have the fire weakness with Sizzlipede there, which hits, I guess, Mega Excadrill, and then you have um what is it? The third one, Darkness hitting. I don't know. I was like looking through that the other day, and
Yeah. I
honestly, it's
don't.
mostly single prizers.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So obviously, we have like the 3 different cards to put on the tier list, right? And they're all slightly different, right? So the Masquerine is a stage 1, which puts it at a disadvantage, but it does attack for 1 energy, so that's a huge plus for it. I would say, and I would think it's going to be the best one. I assume the Masquerine is the star of the deck. It also has the first attack, which I think I would use sometimes. But
Yeah.
you yell at me that I play terribly. But scary pattern does 30 for 1. That's not very exciting. But then the opponent's Pokemon can't attack their next turn. They're not confused or anything or paralyzed, so they can just retreat and switch back in again too. But
They can
if
return if they're
they
confused, by the way.
that's yes, correct. Yeah, they can't if they're paralyzed or asleep. So yeah, I realized I didn't quite phrase that right. But so they can switch out of it, but you have to double switch if they're going to get back in the same Pokemon. So one of them has to be a switch, not just a retreat.
Yeah.
So, but that has some value too. That moves it up a little bit. It doesn't like move it up a tier, but it would bump it up some from what it would be. So I think this is the best of the cards. I will say, just the Buckout, I certainly am concerned about how effective this is going to be. And we do have a Pokemon with an ability that's designed to pair with this, which maybe we should talk about this, uh, maybe with it, or at least next. That it puts Pokemon. You can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck with it. So you're kind of intended to set that up, get a couple of these Pokemon on the bottom of the deck. I think, is there a supporter that also puts things on the bottom of your deck right now?
Yeah, there's I think what you're thinking of is the supporter card Kofu, which says you put two cards from your hand on the bottom, and then if you did, you need to put the two cards there. Then you draw four. So it's a
Okay.
it's a draw four supporter, and you put stuff in the bottom. It's I mean, it's certainly not that good, right? But it's not for this. It works. It works all right there. And
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I'll read the card you were mentioning there, which is Jellicent as well. Um, and this has the ability to deep sea draw. I think right now we'll just talk about it in the context of bug out, probably,
Hmm.
where it says once during your turn, you can use this ability, you draw a card, and then if you do, then you may put a card in your hand on the bottom of your deck. You don't have to, it can just be one draw. So that is interesting. In
Yeah.
a regular deck that's not bug out, you presumably are not going to be putting the cards in the bottom of your deck. You'll just be drawing one. Then obviously the question is like, how good is this? It's obviously not that good. But then with bug out, you're able to then just go ahead and put stuff on the bottom. But it is just one card and it is a stage one here. And I guess I will also read out the other card, which you fought hard for, which is the Ariados. It has two attacks, Toxic for one darkness. Your opponent's active is now poisoned. You put four damage counters on it. And then there's also the second attack here for three colors, which is Secret Needle. You do 80. And then during your opponent's next turn, you're immune to damage from basic Pokemon. So not a terrible attack. Not a great attack either, certainly.
No, I mean, look, walling basics has been good, right? It did help the one deck win Worlds a few years ago. So obviously, it's three energies to get it set up. That's not good, but most of these bucket counts attacks are also three energy attacks, which I think you've said you have the secret sauce to get those powered up. So if you can get the basic powered up, I assume you can get the stage one powered up. So um, yeah, I mean the Eridas I think is a niche card maybe in a bug out deck that might give the Spinnerack to me a little bit of boost in terms of its position. Just it's better off having that as an option in the deck than not.
Yeah, I can see where you're going there. I want to actually rank the Ariados first. So where do you put that?
Okay, the Ariados. I look. I assume that you're not. It's not going to be that easy to power up. Correct?
No, no, it's not. Oh, I mean, well, with the Ariados, we were talking about this. You can use ignition energy there. Um, yeah, and I
Right.
don't think, but I don't think you're probably running ignition with the deck. I will also mention you could use Relicanth with ignition in the deck. That seems clunky slash bad, but it is a thing.
Mhm.
At that point, just attack with the Masquerain, right? Unless you really need those
Right.
different types. But yeah,
Yeah, the ignition doesn't work in that if you're doing this, you want to wall and just win the game with it, right? That's the intent if you play a card like this down. I guess you could ignition and then crisp in two turns. I guess
yeah.
you could do that, right? So you're set for game. But it's gonna be tough to set up. So I mean, it's probably a D tier card. I would think.
Yeah. Where in D tier would you put it?
Um, it's uh I don't know. It's probably better than a lot of these cars in D tier. I would think. What do you think?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm trying to think. Wait, what even is Zinnia's? What's that card do? That's the oh yeah, you gust and then you move in it. Yeah, okay. Or no, sorry, you switch and then you move in energy. So, yeah, I'd say I'd put it just right above Zinnia's maybe if you're fine there.
Okay.
And then we'll do Jellicent later. I think after we do the rest of the bug out Pokemon, but it is a nice little addition. I don't know if I would necessarily play it in bug out. But yeah, you mentioned Kofu. That's where you get stuff on the bottom. In
Yeah.
standard, there are um, a handful of different cards to interact with the bottom of your deck. When I say handful, not that many. There is Dracloak. That is honestly not a terrible option there
Mhm.
within the deck. There is also there's Coqueville. Coqueville is pretty bad, I think, for this. I would not use it. There's Deduction Kit, technically. There's also Lucian. Lucian is kind of like Iono, but it's like random. I guess it's kind of how I describe it. But that
Mhm.
will put stuff in the bottom of your deck. I think what you're looking at is Kofu. I definitely don't hate that one
Okay.
as an option. I don't hate Dracloak, and then I like Matang. Actually, that's the secret sauce here. I don't know if this is good secret sauce.
Ah.
It's
Okay.
um obviously Matang used to accelerate metal energy, and you can use it to accelerate metal energy to your different basic Pokemon that attack for colors. So that is something it can do. And then you look at the top four, accelerate any amount of basic metal you find there. mental energy, and then you are able to, or what you do is you shuffle the other cards, put them on the bottom of your deck. So then, if you hit Pokemon with Bug Out, then you can put them on the bottom. I don't know if this is good. It's secret sauce. I don't know if it's, it's kind of secret for a reason, right? But
Yeah.
that's something that I thought was funny. You could use it to power it up. Definitely interact with the bottom of the deck isn't something we see a ton of. I think Kofu's solid. Jellicent is also okay, as well as Dracloak. I think those are both fine. I think Dracloak's probably going to be a bit better there. I mean, obviously, it's just a bit of a better card. Obviously, the question then becomes like, if you're playing Dracloak, should you just be playing Dragapult? And the answer is, yes. But
Oh,
um,
yes, yeah.
one thing we haven't really talked about though with these cards is the like damage numbers. Like we mentioned them, but it's
Oh,
50
right.
per, and it is 7 Pokemon, so it can do up to 350. 350 is enough. Obviously, you won't be doing
Yeah.
350. Again, I've seen some lists for this stack, just a couple, including one that was by the official Pokemon channel that was like, or in Japan, and it was like, it was so bad, I'm not gonna lie. But the list didn't really have synergy with interacting with the bottom of their deck. They were just like, kind of
Okay.
sending it, kind of like how you might see with, there's some different Pokemon you just like mill from the top of your deck. Um, like a bunch of cards, like Mega Bombasnow or something like that. And so I don't know. Would you with this deck? Would you try to put stuff on the bottom of your deck, or would you just kind of try and send it?
I mean, we've got what do we have? We have 4 Pokemon with bug out
Yeah,
printed. Is that correct?
yeah,
So 4, and I guess you have to run all of them in the deck. Um,
maybe.
I,
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to want to start some of them, but um, so I'm just I just thinking the odds are going to be like you're gonna if you hit 4, you're going to be happy. I mean, I think I'm gonna be fortunate with 4. I don't think I'll
yeah,
be happy because I don't think I'm winning the game, so I'm
yeah,
sad. But I don't think getting 5 or more, even like you play a Kofu and stuff, you're gonna be you put 2 there, or you do some Matangs, but Matang is since unless you're playing Cyphermatic's code breaking first, you don't have any agency over what goes on the bottom of your deck, so
yeah,
you're gonna have to do some Matangs and then stop when once you get 1 or 2 there,
yeah,
which isn't terrible as long as you don't need the energies. Of course, you have to accelerate another energy. So, the damage numbers I think it's going to be difficult to get a damage level that's high enough. I am I think bug out's kind of fun. Interacting with the bottom of the deck is fun. I'm not overly hopeful though that they're going to be too successful.
yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. As much as I like this, I think it's super cool. But yeah, I mean, I think if you pair this with like Kofu, if you play a Kofu on your turn,
Hmm.
and then you also use an ability to put like say two on the bottom, or like two abilities to put two on the bottom there. Then you're doing
Yeah.
at least 200, and then off those three, if you hit like anything else that's nice, you're probably just doing like 200 there, I guess, maybe 250. I mean
Yeah.
that damage on mass screens, it's not great, right?
All right.
It,
Let me say something because I'm thinking now back to my Rapid Strike Malamar days, which which give you trauma to think
yeah,
about playing with that. But I realized the attack kind of works like that because Rapid Strike Malamar was a deck that it would get more concentrated with the Rapid Strike cards as the game went on, so the damage level would ramp. But I think this does have that potential here, right? Because you're discarding everything except for the Pokemon. You're not going to have too many non bug out Pokemon in your deck, right? So now the question is going to be, can you set up as the game goes on as you're losing all your trainers and energies? But assuming you can, you're going to start the damage numbers will increase as the game goes on. Then that is a plus, right?
mhm.
As you're thinning out your deck, you're just getting a higher concentration of bug out cards, so it does get a little better there. So that is a plus for it. With it. So, which I just realized they made that connection with because that's kind of how Rapid Strike Malamar works. So that's a plus. I'm still a little skeptical, but that's a plus. The other thing which I want to get your thoughts on, do you think this is something that could work with a deck that wants to get cards into discard?
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's like a setup attack, kind of.
Yeah, like because you're like the big Cellar Edge fan, right? For instance. So,
Um,
I don't,
I mean, it's like the basics three energy though. And
yeah.
you probably just use the like. Obviously, we're presumably running Luton Sorok, and you're running. Then you can run the drill bro as well. Yes, this technically can get more energy in the discard, but I think that's. bad. I didn't think about that. That's like funny, but I think it's pretty bad.
Okay. I mean, that'd be the fun. Yeah, that'd be the fun way if you do this to set up something else, and you want to do something different than Stellar Edge too, because that's obviously decent, and everyone knows it. You want to do it with something really stupid to make a super memey deck, right? With this, right, as kind
Yeah.
of your an engine, which is kind of sketchy to start with. To set up something else even sketchier would be fun. So I'll have to see if I can think of what that combo
Oh,
could
you
be.
can use
But
it to power up the Heat Rotom EX.
that is excellent point because we will be, I think, hitting all the EXs that are new. So
Yeah.
you could do that, yes, and I'm sure you'll win all your games doing that.
Yeah.
But
Oh, by the way, we didn't really say this, but pretty much all the cards are pretty bad. As well. Like this set's not very good.
well, yeah, I mean, because we just had the new set, the current new set, which
Yeah, Pitch
is
Black. Yeah.
Pitch Black, which has been really good in terms of what it brought to the game.
Yeah.
And then we were prepping for this, going through this set. It's like, wow, these just don't compare to Pitch Black at all. So, yeah, we went, the original tier list, we had a couple Bs, Cs, and even more Ds. And I'm thinking we're kind of in the same vein here. These aren't great cards,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And like, cause with Pitch Black, there's a bunch of new decks, and then with the earlier sets like with Perfect Order and Chaos Rising, there was like a couple of really good card or like one really good card from each set, a pretty good card. I don't
Hmm.
think there's anything that's amazing, and I also don't think they're like the mediocre decks they're not as like impressive as the ones in Pitch Black there. But anyway, so I would say so. I guess it's time to rank them now. I'd say,
Yes.
I mean, I would put Masquerade above the other ones in C tier, and the others in D tier. Nah, maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe a little higher than that.
All right. So yeah, I mean, Masquerade's not B tier though, right? So that's going to
Yeah,
be in
yeah,
C tier. Um, is it like what is it like mid C tier? You're thinking?
yeah. Honestly, yeah, yeah. I'd put it between the two tools, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure if we got all the rankings in this tier list right as well,
No.
but it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah, I'd say between the two tools.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. That gives us the sense there with the Masquerade, and then the combi, um, which again, that's a basic, which is I guess good. It's the three energies, which is not good. So that's lower. So obviously it's D tier.
Yeah, it could be in
Like
C tier. Yeah, that's probably B tier.
I mean, it's only C tier if you look at it as powering up the Masquerade, right? I think on its own, it probably goes in D tier,
Yeah.
um, for more its thing. You want it like top of D tier then?
Um, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'd
mean,
say I'd say maybe both. Yeah. Yeah. Probably top of D tier.
right now we have Mega Rayquaza top of D tier, and that's not seeming great. I would say, right?
No. No. Honestly, I'm like, oh, he has been seeing some play, but no, it's. I think it's pretty bad. Yeah. So I'll say Combi top of D tier. I'll actually put, and I think Spinner Action maybe be above it if you're looking at type like weakness hitting.
Yeah.
Combi seeing the same weakness as the Masquerain, which is probably the main attacker there. Um, and then at that point you can just just use that, and then having the spin rack gives you something else, kind of.
Right. And like I said, you could I would consider slapping in an Ariados as well because their big basic decks are a thing. If you can get that set up, it's a big if. But if you do, you could just win the game with that. So therefore, that bumps the Spinnerack a little bit too, having that second option.
Yeah. Honestly, like, okay, I was like giving you some grief for for the
Ariados,
Ariados
yeah,
before this.
yeah.
It's not like horrendously terrible. It's okay. It's not great. I
Hmm.
mean, well, it's kind of bad, but the other stuff's also kind of bad. So in comparison, it's okay.
Yeah, and look, in basic decks are a thing, right? So that's a big factor, right? It's not like you will run up against basic decks, with a decent amount of consistency.
Yeah. Will this win for you? Probably not, but it's something.
All right, so we had a little technical glitch there. Hopefully, it's relatively seamless for you because we'll chop that bit out. But we were starting to talk about Jellicent, which is The engine, I guess, to set up the bug out, right? Because it lets you draw a card, and then you can put a card from your hand in the bottom of your deck. Which, if you get multiple of Jellicents in play, it sets up the bug out. But also, it is an engine on its own. It does draw one card. The attack's not good though. It's 100 for 3 energies, so bad there. But a stage one for an engine isn't bad. Retreat cost of two's not great. Um, I was comparing this to the Dodrio, which would draw you a card. It would put 2 damage counters on yourself, and then it damage was based upon when you attacked based on damage on it. So it actually ramped up pretty well. And so it kind of you got an attacking option. The drawing a card was okay, but the reason I bring it up is, and that was an attack cost of 1. So and that wasn't a great card. I liked it more than probably its quality level was, but a much better card than the Jellicent, I would say, because usually you're not going to want to put a card from your hand in the bottom of your deck. Although you're playing the Slowpoke, is that the one, or Slowbro? I'm terrible with
Oh,
that.
yeah, yeah, the Slowbro. Yeah, the one where you want no cards in hand.
So and maybe this is a way to make that work too.
Yeah, that's not a
Because
bad idea.
right, because yeah, you get a card, and then you could put any card you want from your hand in your bottom of your deck. So it avoids that situation when you have like 2 supporters, for instance, that you're stuck with, right? So it does help out with that. So that could be the way to go there. In terms of a general draw engine, drawing one card isn't that good. So I don't love it for a draw engine. Um, outside of, like I said, setting up the Slowbro or obviously for the bug out. I don't think it's a good general purpose draw engine, though. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, it evolves from the Frillish, which item locks, which is a solid card
Yes.
there. And actually gets a lower retreat cost, which is nice. So, I mean, it's not amazing, certainly. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, but I think if you're playing the Frillish, then you
Yeah.
probably put in a Jellicent. Like it feels pretty solid there. It's just some extra draw. I mean, you're seeing like 2 cannon see play, and its extra draw is like nice. It's not broken, but it's
Yeah.
nice. And then the that's it, right? Like you're just a little bit of extra draw with just one card slot in your deck there. And then you maybe can like throw in the Frillish and the Jellicent a bit easier into decks as well. The Frillish is also obviously
Hmm.
psychic, attacks with psychic, so you can use telepathic psyche energy there, which is nice. And you could pair it if you're playing with the Jellicent EX. I think it's really nice. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think this card is it's certainly not amazing, but I like it a bunch within that role. Again, like the idea of the no cards in hand as well, I really like that. I mean, I love the slow bro. It's not super good.
Hmm.
It's not terrible. It's all right. It's like absurdly hard to play, but it's all right if you get it to like work, or if you can like sequence it right. Again, it is legitimately like very hard to play. It's potentially the hardest
Hmm.
deck I've ever played, but it is still
Okay.
definitely it's okay. I think it's better than the bug out Pokemon.
Yeah, and I was thinking because you mentioned two cannon, which I do like two cannon. Two cannon is a stage two that draws you one. It does have a nice attack on it, so it's better in that sense. But I have seen like two cannon going right in Alakazam at times. I don't know if it'll stick, but I think mainly for the draw. So honestly, this is a stage one, so it's actually a better draw engine for like Alakazam. Although I still don't get the two cannon, so I probably wouldn't do it. But it is a step up probably in one sense for like an Alakazam deck even. So maybe the draw is better than I'm thinking for the Jellicent.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Alexam it allows you to kind of cover some of the weaknesses or something like that. I don't know. I mean, like Alexam does some weird stuff that is not always the best. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, Jellicent I think is okay in terms of where it should go. Maybe
Yeah.
I definitely say I'd say it's not B tier, right?
No, I don't think so. I'd be happy to be surprised because I love single uh, prize engines. I don't think it's that good, but I think it's a solid C tier, upper C tier card.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say it's probably at the very top of C tier.
Okay, I'm good with that for a spot. So, and I'll be pleasantly surprised if I'm wrong on it too, and it's better. I don't think it'll be worse than that because drawing a card is always just a nice option.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's like a Rapidash in standard that's just a stage one that draws you a card, which like
Yeah.
isn't played. I don't even know what set that's from, but I'm pretty sure that's in standard. Um, and it's not super good there. But yeah, I mean, with the other stuff we talked about, it seems all right. Then I guess let's talk about the forces of nature, or whatever they're called, which is Landers, Thunders, Trainus, and Enamorus here. They have this
Enamorous.
ability
Yeah.
called Incarnate Union, which says if you have all four in play, then you are able to ignore the colorless energy costs in the attack costs of the Pokemon. I assume that's how they're going to be played, so I'm just going to read out their attack costs without the colorless energy. So Thunderous here for keep in mind that you obviously need all the Pokemon. For one lightning, you do
Yep.
90 and then hit through stuff. Of course, that's lightning as well. You have Enamorus for two psychic, you do 100, but you do 200 to an EX. You have the Landorus, which does 110 just because of Stadium for one fighting, and then for free with all this Pokemon in play, you do 70. You drop to you have six cards in hand with a Tornadus there. Definitely reminds me a little, especially the Tornadus there, of Cast Form, a fun deck that I know you enjoyed. But how good do you think these are?
Not too good, I gotta say. Although now that I think about it, they're not quite as bad as I was thinking. So Tornadus, 70, it attacks for free, which is nice, but they're also obviously not Buddy Buddy Poffin searchable, so getting them in play is limited too. Because Ultra Balls are always a little tricky to rely on that a lot, just because you're discarding a bunch, and you have the four Pokey
Yeah.
pads, right? Which is the main way, but since you have to have four in play at a time, you're going to burn through all the Pokepads and all your Ultra Balls. I would imagine, and but then you have like
Yeah.
what the Lana's A's and such,
Yeah. Or
and
you
the
could Precious
rods.
Trolley.
I mean,
I don't
oh,
like Precious
that's
Trolley,
true.
but I imagine people will probably do that as my guess.
Okay, yeah. So you're setting up corkscrew dive 70, drawing till six isn't great. And it's you may, so you're not going to deck yourself out. That's a plus on that one. The Landorus, I mean, fighting weakness is good. I assume you're discarding a stadium. 110 is not a great number, of course, but none of these are great. You're discarding a stadium from play, and we do have the new double stadium, so I guess it's kind of a counter to that, particularly because now you're discarding two cards, so it gets a little more payoff because your opponent did more work. But it's probably the Enamorus is like the best one, right? Because now with the Lose Clefairy, now you're one-shotting any Dragon EX in the game, so that's the good thing. But it is two Psychic Energy, so you're going to have to. I know I'm going to say the card you hate. I think you're going to have to Crispin
No, you
and
Wonders
manually
Patch,
attack.
right? You probably Wonders
Oh, you
Patch.
Wonders Patch. Yeah, that's true. Although Wonders Patch, I honestly, I Crispin works more often for me than Wonders Patch, but
Yeah, no,
I
you
get
might
it.
run
Yes.
both. I'm wondering if you run a bunch of Psychic or Wonders Patch and Prism Energy, or if you run like Crispin, or
Yeah.
maybe both. Probably not both, but yeah, something like that.
So the powering up is awkward, right? Obviously, one-shotting Dragapult and Raging Bolt and whatever is good, but the two, but that's I guess they intentionally obviously gave it the two cost there, which makes it tough. And then the Thunderous does 90 hits through effects, but I mean, what usually the main effect is like walling off rule box things,
Yeah.
right? We do have the darkness one that we just
Ariados.
talked
Yeah.
Ariados. So they're worried about Ariados taking over the game, I guess.
Yeah,
But
you don't even
so
knock it
you really
out.
don't. Yeah, that's true. I mean, hitting through effects is not very important. I'll be honest with you on this Pokemon. So you're doing 90, which isn't very good. So
Yeah.
uh, the Enamorus, I guess, is the best because of with Luz Clefairy. Um, yeah, so that one's okay, and the others are pretty poor. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think the Thunderous is the worst of them. I think the other ones have something going for them. Either like weakness, though the one's like free there. And the Namorous is like,
Yeah.
it's expensive. I mean, it's not super expensive, but it's not that good either. So I would say, I don't know, tier wise, these are, I don't know, they're not good. I think Thunderous is, I guess it's probably near the bottom of D. I'd say the rest are probably near the top of D is kind of where I'm looking, but I'm not sure on that.
All right. I mean, so where do you want to slap the Thunderous? You want it at the bottom or something above it? I'm not honestly positive.
I'll say let's put it above the Sailor. I will say the Supporter Aaron is a little better than that's also been seeing some play in Japan. I mean, I don't think it's super good, but it's not terrible.
Okay. I
Then
do think. the Enamorus is the best of them. Do you think that could sneak into C tier or no?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine putting it bottom of C, and then the I think the Thunderous and yeah, Thunderous and Landorus, or sorry, Tornadus and Landorus are I'd put Landorus or sorry, I'd put Thunderous above. I'd put them both below Mega Malamar. Is kind of my thoughts.
Okay, above below Mega Malamar, and you want the
Oh,
Thunderous,
yeah, or Tornadus. I mean,
Tornadus as the higher one. Okay.
yeah, I guess. I don't think it matters too much. They're not amazing there,
No.
certainly. Um, then they're kind of
Right.
interesting, but they're not super good. Honestly, most of these other
No.
Pokemon aren't super interesting. I mean, okay, let's talk about probably one of the most interesting and potentially best cards. I will also mention that this card is pretty solid. I think it's the best of the double stadiums, which is Legendary Lava. What is it? Legendary Lava Lake. Yeah.
Lava Lake. Yeah.
Um, and this is meant to be paired with like, or there's a supporter card, Aaron, which searches for two, or sorry, it searches for three in combination of stadiums and supporters, and that's seeing play
Yeah.
with this new card. So theoretically, that gets some buffs there, and maybe should be a bit higher than like one of the worst cards on this tier list. But regardless, we aren't gonna, I guess, dive into that right now. But we have
No.
Legendary Lava Lake, which turns off abilities of evolution Pokemon, but it is a double stadium, so you need to play both parts, which is obviously clunky there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're saying earlier these are okay stadiums, but none of these stadiums are that good that they would like throw the game out of kilter if it was just a regular single stadium. So
I think this one
um
would be. Well, I don't know. I think
maybe.
I don't. I certainly don't think the healing one would. I think the giving up less prizes is. If you had to deal with four of it, it would be really annoying, but you don't.
Yeah.
And then the this one it could be. I think it's definitely can really hurt decks at times. It's I was talking about this. It's similar-ish power level, though slightly weaker to Path to Peak and Silent Lab, which are two of the best stadiums
Well,
ever.
no, I think you're pretty off there. And this is we had this discussion beforehand. We
Yeah,
we actually we do a little bit of prep, and this was one of the more contentious prep times, I would say.
yeah.
We came at it differently, but we came at it slightly differently. But we also don't think the card's all that good, so it gets to this funny dynamic. But look, the biggest abilities to stop in the game are for basics, right? Because everybody's playing Pheasantipity. Meowth EX is really good. I know you're not the biggest believer, but it's still good. Latias EX really good. We you have Monkey Dory, right? So the more common played cards are the basic Pokemon for abilities, right? The evolution ones are more deck specific, I would say. So it's less impactful than something that shuts off basics, I would say.
I'd say it's less universal, but
Hmm.
it's more important in the games where it matters. Like with I mean, you look at Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is the best deck in the game.
Yeah.
It's very good, all that, and I guess I will say Talonflame EX is also shut off by this, but or I'm pretty sure
Yep.
Talonflame EX. Wait, is Talonflame EX shut off by it? I'm
Evolution.
uh
Well, oh, you mean the getting into play part, right?
yeah. Actually, maybe it's not. I don't know. Someone tell me that in the comment section, or like I know they're ruling on that, but
I
regardless,
think it. I think you can get it into play, right?
yeah, that's what
I
I was
think
thinking.
because it's Pokemon and evolution Pokemon in play have no abilities. It's not in play yet until it's on the bench.
Yeah, but regardless, like if you're against Dragapult, would I rather have my if I could choose between which or like which one would be the worst between getting evolution abilities turned off, basic abilities turned off, and rule box Pokemon abilities turned off? I think evolution abilities being turned off is the worst.
Hmm.
Especially I mean like there's different builds. All of them generally run some different evolution abilities on top of Drake but even just with Drake which I mean in my build, mine's mostly Drake Um,
Hmm.
I know my build's a little weird, but with that, it also runs Frostlass as well, so I guess that gets turned off. But this is turning off like in really hurting some decks really substantially, and then turning off a deck's like main engine as opposed to these like one-time, pretty solid, like pretty good value cards like Meowth, like Pheasant EX. So Pheasant EX is more than one time, but it's not like necessarily every turn, especially in these longer drawn out games, which I think this stadium kind of lends itself to. It's a little clunky to get into play. It's also a card that is it like again it is like this control style card as well. So
Yeah.
you're looking at these longer style of games, and in those situations, then that's where the evolution abilities become a bit more important, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's true, and I'm starting to enjoy Chandelure, so I'm getting scared now that this is going to shut me down from the occasional game I win with that. But the big question, but in all seriousness, although I am enjoying Chandelure, but I know it's not the best thing. But the question is it going to be a commonly played stadium? Because if it is, it forces you to adjust your deck list, right? That's a big factor, right? Like if you're playing Alakazam now, which is a very good single prize deck, if you're seeing a bunch of Lava Lake, you've got to have a bump for the stadium, or else it just crushes you, right? And
Yeah.
other things as well. So people are going to have to start modifying lists if this is played. But it's, I suspect the most likely case is it's not going to be played a lot because it is clunky with the two stadiums. But it could create an interesting dynamic to the if people start playing it, it does start to shift how some of these decks get built, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's B tier. Like I think it's above
Okay.
Cacturn. Um, yeah, I don't know
Okay.
where do you put it?
No, I think that's fair. I think Talonflame should be at the top still, but I think above Cacturn, because Cacturn and you don't think you've really seen play from Cacturn yet either, right?
No, I think it's okay. I think it will see
Yeah.
play at some point. I think it's all right, certainly. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. No, that works. So just want to start like going through the cards quickly now.
Sure. Yeah, wait, what's next? Let's do
Let's
Magmortar
see.
and Electivire.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll just quickly read it what they do. Yeah, Magmortar is one. Also your turn you attach up to one basic fire and up to one basic light energy from your hand to your Magmortar or Electivire in any way you like. There aren't really any other particularly good options other than the ones in this set. The Magmortar is a pretty bad attacker. Of course, it does synergize with the new item, searching for um, some basic energy. Also, I do
Right.
think we should move Aaron up, but also, whatever. So we got the new Electivire then. This one
Yeah.
does you discard any amount of basic energy from this Pokemon, and then it does 60 for each energy discard in this way. Um, and it's not energy card to the translation here, which is technically notable, though not like that notable. But ultimately, I think that you could play this in a lightning deck, with like electric or something, maybe. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's super impressive there. But then also you have what does it say? You have you obviously have the Magmortar, right? So you can do that there.
Right.
How good do you think this is?
Yeah, I mean, the Magmortar is just to set up the Electivire. I mean, obviously, you could move the energies off to another Pokemon if you wanted to. It's tricky though. You're probably using energy switch. You could go Blissey EX as well if you really wanted to go that route. Although people aren't playing Blissey EX. I think maybe it's worth giving a little more consideration. Although it's not the best thing still. But with this, the Electivire, it does 60 per energy discarded. The attack cost is 4, so you've got at least doing 240. So you've got to get at least, but you have to get at least two Magmortars set up to power it up in one turn. And then you could attach from hand as well. So you're looking at what 300. So you do have the potential to one shot Ulak's Pokemon. So that's pretty good. You've got to though keep getting the energies back in hand, and we don't have that ability to get the energies back in hand as easily. So that's going to be the tough part. It's a single prize deck if you're playing it. As such, the Electivire Magmortar. So you're going to be getting one shot. You've got to get another stage one set up. You've got to get energies back in hand. You've got to get energies accelerated. So it's going to be tricky, is what I'll say. But at the Electivire, I think is a little better than the Magmortar, but neither one's great also, either.
Yeah, I think that oh, you didn't give a tier, did you? Let's see.
No.
I'll say Magmortar probably goes in. I mean, I'd probably put them together, so I'd say they
Okay.
probably go in
They're
D
D tier,
tier.
aren't they?
Yeah, probably below Mega Malamar, above the trio with four.
Okay. And I think the Electivire is the higher one, right next to to Malamar,
Yeah, sounds
right?
good to me. I mean, not
Okay.
good. It's not good, but like, um, yeah,
Okay. The next card I think is one of the more interesting ones. And that's the Heat Rotom EX.
yeah,
Um, two attacks. The one does 170 for three. You discard two energies of the Pokemon. That's not very good. It's a 190 HP EX, so that's not huge HP, but I think that's kind of you wouldn't expect that from Rotom anyway. But then the first attack, Heat for two colorless, does 30 per each basic energy, fire energy in the discard pile, and you shuffle those energies back into your deck, which I think is interesting. Is it going to be great? No. But it's if you have something, obviously Sarah Ledge that wants to get energies from the into the discard pile, then this moves them back, so you can have some synergy there. So a deck which is getting a lot of energies in the discard pile as it has a potential place in that, right? The question is, what can you do with it? So I think it's a little bit interesting. I don't think it's going to be all that good, though, unfortunately.
yeah. I think it's you meant like when Sarah Ledge. We kind of talked about this some, and like if you have Sarah Ledge with a bunch of changes in the discard, you're probably taking the knockout anyway. Um, and you can't really get two changes on super easily. You can do double tools with this with Rotom EX, which seems really funny, but probably pretty bad. And then I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about this card. It's not very good. There's a card like this in expanded that is good, but it's just one energy, and it's not like broken. It's solid. With Volcanion V there, or sorry, Volcarona V there. But regardless, I think Rotom EX probably goes in D tier, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's D tier. It's again, what is it like? Middle D tier, lower D tier.
It's probably low D tier. Honestly, I'd say it's below. I'd say it's right above. Or sorry, right below the supporter at the bottom, Aaron.
Okay, that's fine. Right below Aaron. I'm fine with that. So, all right. What's the next
Yeah, we
card? Did
got
we do?
Raikou,
Do
right?
oh yeah, Raikou. Yep, I missed that.
Yep.
So Raikou EX, because I think we're hitting all the Rule X Pokemon. Um, it it's really here for the first attack. I guess for both the 200 HP stage one basic gather lightning. If you go first, you can use this attack at first turn, which is always fun. There's not a lot of Pokemon that can do that. For one lightning, you search your deck for an energy and you find and attach to this Pokemon. Can be any type. So you can use the voltaic energy, which I assume is what you want to do, because then the second attack for three energies, lightning, colorless, power Rush does 200. You flip a coin. If it's tails, it can't attack the next turn. I think honestly it didn't need that. That makes it worse, but honestly it didn't need that because it wasn't going to be overpowered anyway. But so you've got a lightning, and let's say you have now two voltaic energies. Now you're doing 240, and then you're one-shotting pretty much all the basic EXs in the game, right? Even with one, you're probably hitting most of them. So in lightning weakness isn't a bad thing. What I don't like though is 200 HP, you're getting blown up pretty easily too, so you're pretty squishy. You really only are going to use it to me if you're going first, and then you're taking advantage of the accelerating on your first turn because you don't want to have to use Gather Lightning on your first turn going second because right, I think you're just too far behind things to really win. But it has some interest there if you're going first with what it can do.
Yeah, I think going second, it's not good. It's better than nothing. There are certainly it's
Yeah,
okay. Like it's not that good. It's kind of bad, but generally, Chum going second. What are you doing? There are definitely a bunch of decks that don't really do much of anything there, which is so that's like fine.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I like this kind of in the an electric box there. It's definitely interesting with the combo of electric and Iono's Killer Marshal. Something I've been interested in. Don't know if it's really any good at all. But it definitely seems cool, and I think this is a solid piece within it. And I think it's a card that I think fits in as a pretty solid one of into the deck, and hopefully the deck can turn into something at some point before it rotates. That's my hope there. Um, when's it rotating? It's not rotating this year though. Or this like within a year. It's rotating after that. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what's going to happen there. Am I super hopeful? No, I don't think it's great. It's probably also D tier. I'd say it's probably I'd put it above Mega Rayquaza though.
Yeah, I was thinking it's high D tier, and I think that's a fair point. It's above that, and in big basic box are a thing, and I you could try it in a big basic box so that you probably have other better
Yeah,
options. But
and it is only one
um,
colorless energy as well. It's two non-colorless.
right, and now and Raiku's one that's paired with some other Pokemon, right? Like the Raikou and what is it like
Entei
the
and
Entei and stuff.
Suicune, and then Lily's
So,
Clefairy and Toucannon.
okay, but we don't have the Entei and such, right, in the game at this point.
No. I don't know if
So
they'll be paired. Maybe they will be. Maybe not.
I wonder if they'll put those out with similar first attacks. Well, time will tell on that.
Yeah. Not that that'll be very exciting, but yeah. So we'll hop it to this right here. Then I guess we'll
Yep.
move on to Giratina. This one's kind of cool. I know you like this one. I kind of like this one too. With the attack here, Chaos Crawler. This one does for Psychic Colorless 120. That is immune to all damage from attacks into this Pokemon next turn. You cannot use Chaos Crawler in back-to-back turns though at all. So definitely an interesting attack there. With complete immunity, right? That's just like good, obviously,
Right.
but obviously also it's kind of expensive. It's not that strong. So, what do you play the track on, which is very similar.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this card?
Yeah, I mean the Trachean worked because at least the best for me is you had the Ditto, which I'm pretty sure we don't have, right? That was from
Yeah,
Go, I think, right?
yeah. We have
That
like
would
we
copy
have
base.
Slowking, which is I've seen using it. I saw a list with this in there.
Okay, which copies, something that copies attacks of basics, and then you could switch between other things because you can't stream chaos crawlers, and there's also something you can't just switch in and out of it. It's unusual in that sense. It's if you use that attack chaos crawler, so you can't switch to another Giratina and do it. So because it would be too good. So I get it why it is. So to make 120 for three is not great, obviously. You need to have some other way to do something good on your other turn, right? Ideally, you're playing this, you're just trying to have a walling deck, is what I'd say. I think it's more going to be an expanded if you're playing like the Tracheon and you could switch between Tracheon and Giratina, two things that do the same thing. They have different energy costs, so that's going to be it'll be awkward there. I'll have to think about the way to pull that off, but I'll definitely be looking into that. The question is, what do you pair it with? It's three energies, so just trying to buy a turn to set up isn't probably going to work because you need to do a bunch of work to set this one up to attack within one turn. So, unfortunately, I think it's going to be disappointing in standard format.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think if there's like a Wonders Patch like Psychic Box, but I just really don't think that's there.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say probably just I don't know. What tier? Is this also D tier?
I guess so. I'd like it to be better, though, right?
Maybe I don't know, yeah, it's
Um,
probably C tier honestly. Look at like what's in C tier, and those cards aren't that good either. I'd honestly put it above the Lantern.
you think it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, Lantern's gonna get used more. That's the two energy one, right?
really?
You think?
Well,
You
like
think
in
this will
what?
get used
You
more?
like laughed at it when I said it was played in Thorns.
Well, but it is getting played, right? Okay,
Well,
that's
someone
fine. Look,
played it,
well,
but
let's
also
put it above
literally
it
just
then.
came out, so people like to do that.
All right, let's put it above the Lantern. Look, I would like to see this be good. Well, I kind of do because I think it's fun. Although I certainly don't want to see it be good that it's played a lot because obviously
Yeah.
that would not be enjoyable either. But it needs to be difficult to make use of. I think you're gonna have to have something that's gonna shift around energies. Um, so I don't know. I think and I may have to try something with Blissey. Honestly, I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm talking myself into playing Blissey
Blissey
now.
Wonders Patch Box.
Yes. Yes, there we go. Anyway, so but it's an interesting one, right? So we don't see cards like this very often.
Yeah. And then we see the next one here. This is a Mega Golurk EX. This one has 350 HP and does 300 for 2 Psychic and 30 to itself, so that's good. But then it has this ability that's a
Yep.
downside. You can only attack if you have 10 or more cards in your hand, which is kind of bad. I will say pretty much this card's like kind of like Alakazam. I think could work in Alakazam. It is 2 energies, but you sometimes see Patch in that Wonders Patch.
Yeah.
It could work in something else, but it is a bunch of cards in your hand. Um, but this card, I mean, it's okay. I think it's all right. You can even see it play it in like something like Dragapult if you really want to, or something like that. It's
Right.
just a solid card. Not an amazing card, but an all right card.
Right.
But
You're
getting the
doing
cards in
three.
hand, probably Alakazam.
Right. I mean, 300 damage is a nice number. If you're playing Alakazam, which is the natural partner with it, you're going to do more damage a lot of time with Alakazam, or at least equal damage.
Yeah,
So it's not really there for the big damage. But what it does in an Alakazam deck, it gives you tankiness, right? Which you
yeah,
don't. You're going to want to use the Mega Golurk late in the game to force your opponent to boss something up on the bench for game, right? Once you get down to one or two prizes, even better, one prize. All of a sudden, now you're making your opponent two shot you, which can swing the game for you. So Alakazam's a good deck, so it can have a place in that. Um, I obviously it does a bunch of damage, but not enough to one shot Dragapult. Obviously, there's Lily Clefairy, but once you talk Lily Clefairy, you have a lot of other attacking options. So the Mega Golurk's probably not top of the list then. But
yeah.
yeah, what is this? It's probably, is it C tier? Is this one squeak into C tier?
Yeah, it's like crazy. I'm like, wow, is it like so good? It's in C tier, and like C tier is not that good. Yeah, I'd say it's
Yeah.
probably C tier. Probably, I'd say it's below Lantern there.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, I think it's low C tier. So yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, but unfortunately, like Mega Golurk is like a solid card within this set, right? Which just shows the lack of quality in within this set.
yeah. Then we got Komodo here, everyone's favorite Pokemon. Now my favorite Pokemon is Hakamo. I did not know that was the name of that Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie, but it is. Yeah, Komodo here with Scale B also does 170 for obviously it's a Dragon Pokemon here. It's doing 170 for what is it?
Lightning.
Lightning, Fighting, Colorless, and then you have this
Yeah.
ability which is Scale Beat. Once during your turn, you can look at the top six cards of your deck and attach a number of base guns you find out to your Dragon Pokemon and what you like, then shuffle the other cards back. I've seen abilities like this in the past that have been not great. Funnily enough, this is the same energy types as Raging Bolt, and then you could play it in Raging Bolt. You could play it in Dragapult. I think. I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean. It's just like I guess probably a worse Blaziken EX there, but it's a single prize. I guess you don't really need a single prize though. But it's not a terrible card.
Yeah, I mean, look, it lets you power up your Dragapult in one turn potentially. Um,
Yeah,
and obviously, if you play Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking, then you're guaranteed to hit it. But also, I was thinking when saw this card about Raging Bolt, right? Because Raging
yeah,
Bolt's still a thing. I haven't seen it honestly in a while, so I don't actually know how good it is now. It's been better post rotation. I thought it'd be just dead, and it's not. So, getting more energies in play is a good thing. So, it's only basic energies, but that's okay for a lot of these decks. So, but it's not great. It's a stage two, and obviously, like Raging Bolt's not going to be happy about playing a stage two for, as a setup piece there. I would say so. It's maybe more Dragapult because it runs rare candy. You probably want a rare candy deck, but Dragapult's good. I don't know if this actually makes the Dragapult deck better, or it just may take in deck slots that actually just weaken the deck at the end of the day. So, it's unfortunately I just talked myself out of it being a good card, didn't I?
yeah. I don't think it's super good, unfortunately. Um, I'm like thinking maybe Raging Bolt, then you can like not play Ogre Pond. That's probably a bad
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. Um, so it's probably a D tier somewhere, right? Maybe I'd
Yeah.
say
Are you there?
huh?
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe below Magmortar. I don't. I'm not really sure to be honest.
Um, okay, that's fine. Below Magmortar, I'm not real sure. I might be higher in D tier, but it might not be. So that's fine.
Yeah. Then we got a few colorless Pokemon here to wrap things
Yep.
up. So we got Azurill next. This one's kind of fun with bounce charge for one colorless. Or sorry, it's free. It's a baby. It's free for your treat. And then you search your deck for one energy, attach it to one of your bench Pokemon, then shuffle. It's kind of like the
Yep.
Smoochum. Smoochum's one type of just psychic there. It's seen play in Slowking there. But this is not a bad baby Pokemon, honestly.
No, I think this is one of the better cards because I think this can go in decks, which I can't say for most of these cards. You're willing to have a single prize. This low HP guy's getting blown up, especially in rule box decks. So one prize is fine then, and you probably play it. in a deck that wants to go first, but when you can't, then you get an energy accelerated. So which is a good thing. So great for there's a lot of decks that if you go second, you can't attack meaningfully. So this sets you up. So yeah, I think it's a very solid card.
Yeah. Obviously very, very weak HP there. But I'd say this is maybe it's not B tier, it's probably C tier. Like high C tier.
I think it's high C tier. I'm not sure it'll get played much, but it will get played some. Yeah, I mean it's better than like the Rayquaza's backpack, right?
Yeah. Cap.
Cap. Sorry, I knew I was gonna get it wrong. It looks like looking at small, it looks like more like a backpack, but anyway, doesn't matter. So is where do you want it?
I'd say I'd put it, I guess, right below Jellicent. I can see it above Jellicent as well. Somewhere right next to it.
All right, let's put it below Jellicent. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting to see how they sort out different cards, but kind of which one will be better between those. I'm not. I think it's tough for me to say.
Yeah. Then the next one we got here. This one's interesting-ish. It's Altaria. This one is a
Yep.
colorless stage 1, which gives basic Pokemon to play, no retreat, as an attack, but the attack's pretty bad. It's 80 for 3. But yeah, I mean, you're able to just go ahead and, do give free retreat to basics, obviously not to itself there. Doesn't have free retreat. It's like Latias. Latias EX is very good. Latias EX is a multi-prizer though, so theoretically, if you're playing a deck where you want free retreat in your basics that's not a multi-prize deck, most of them are, but they don't have to be, then, this isn't terrible, though it's not super impressive either.
Yeah, this is one I yelled at you about before we were prepping for the podcast because we talked about this a few days ago, and I said, "Oh, I'll tell you, it's not bad. It does what it does." And then you said, "No, there's Latias EX in format. This is garbage." That's essentially how I took what you said. And then today, as we were talking about the podcast, you're like, "Oh, and Altaria is really good." I'm like, "Well, you just said it
Yeah.
was
I
terrible."
think, well, I
So,
think it's compared to the metagame, it's not very good. Compared to these cards, it's not
but
bad.
I mean, but the point I made, which is still probably the biggest thing, look, which gets we say Latias EX is better right now, just about all the time. Yes, that's a two prizer, but it's a basic. It doesn't get stuck in the active itself,
Well, it can
and so
get
it's
it
easier
can
to.
get stuck in the active though, if it gets ability locked, which you sometimes see happen.
It can, yes, that's true. And then the Altaria will have that issue too, right?
But not
Um,
as bad. It's only one retreat.
yeah, but right now, until well, Latias in format, Altaria is not that valuable. But once Latias rotates, then this certainly jumps up a good bit. So one of the questions is, are we ranking it for today? And I think we are, right?
I guess I don't know. I definitely flip flop between this one. I do tier list. I'm not super consistent there. I'd say
Okay.
that it's probably, yeah. I guess we're ranking it for today mostly. But I mean, I think it's okay today ish. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably put it C tier to be honest.
Okay, I think it's got to be low C tier today, though. Then,
How low?
I mean, I honestly, I'd put it. I don't know that there's anything I put above it, but where do you want it to be?
I mean, I think it's better than Enamorous. Um,
Out you.
I mean, Enamorous
Okay.
isn't very good. Or Yumi Onigiri.
All
Like,
right.
I don't know. I don't necessarily. I can see it just above Enamorous though. Yeah, okay,
All
it's fine.
right.
I'll put it at the bottom. I'll give you
Okay.
that.
I mean, it's one that it jumps up at least to the top of C tier once Latias EX rotates, right? It might even and if
Yeah,
it's seeing some play before it rotates, it jumps up to B tier. So that which will be interesting to see what happens.
yeah. And then we have the last card here, which is a card I kind of like here, which is Kecleon.
Yeah.
Obviously, with it has, well, you'll see why I like it. It does you reveal any number of Pokemon from your hand. And then you do 30 for each Pokemon type revealed in this way. So that's kind of cool there. Obviously, there are 10 types in standard, so this can do up to 300
Yep.
for 2 costs on a basic, which is, I mean, that's good. Obviously, the fact that you need all these different Pokemon, it's kind of clunky. I don't know exactly what Pokemon you're looking to run in this deck for like each type, but you can figure that out, and it doesn't matter necessarily too much. But yeah, you pretty much are looking at a deck here where you need a lot of cards in your hand. Honestly, like you need a lot of cards in your hand, which is not so amazing.
Yeah, look, the good thing is, well, first off, it's two colorless, so therefore we can play one of my favorite cards, Crispin, one of your most hated cards, at
We
least
could just do
based
counter
upon how
game
you.
there too.
Yeah, that's true. Counter game, but you're always planning on falling behind on prizes. I never do that, so
No.
that's the difference
You deck
there.
out turn one.
But the good thing is, well, you can counter gain, yes, and you can use Crispin, right? Both those are probably options you're going to put in this deck, I would think. And the other good thing is you reveal the cards, but you don't shuffle them into the deck or anything or discard them. So you can keep streaming unless you get disrupted. There is Judge and format, so that will happen. You're going to need a good draw engine. So one of the questions I was thinking, because I do think a card like this is fun, is I'm gonna have these other cards I'm playing. Some of them I might just want evolutions without basics because I don't want to play them. But on the other hand, I do want to have some other options, and I'm going to need some engine cards, and I'm probably going to have some other attacking options, right? So that's the interesting part: is what else do I want to put in the deck? Because since it's colorless, it can be any type for attacking, and I need a mix of types. So what else do I want in the deck? And obviously, I do, like I said, you need some solid draw in the deck as well. You don't really want to go with the colorless draw, which I just blanking on the name. You know what I'm talking
Uh,
about.
no, I actually
The stage one,
did Unsparse.
the Dunsparce, right?
Yeah, no, you
You
don't want to go
probably
with that.
because it's colorless and
No, well, that's
you
not why you
lose
don't
it
want to go with it.
and you lose it from play. You lose it from your hand, I would think. So,
No, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, you
um,
could even run something like so there are other good colors, like Meowth EX, Many Kind EX.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I can see you playing like one of those maybe, but you're running like Pheasantipti EX. I'm trying to think. I guess let's say Latias maybe.
hmm
I'm trying to think. I'm not really sure.
You you do have an option. You could obviously go with the Kecleon deck, which it's a fun thing. I don't think it's going to go that well at the end of the day. It's a type of deck which I certainly am open to trying. But it's also if you're playing a big basic deck with a bunch of types, which is definitely a thing that's out there. Slapping a Kecleon in your deck to have this single prize Pokemon that can take out a rule box Pokemon, at some point in the game is a nice bonus for you. So I do think it can go in some other decks, like big basic decks. I would think primarily the decks that could actually be equipped to run this as well.
Yeah, I'm even thinking like maybe Dragapult Blaziken, you could chuck it in. I mean, it's not
hmm
super impressive. Then you're swinging for, you could even be swinging for 180. I mean, you could potentially even be doing, well, I'm looking at an average list. You're probably not going to be able to do more damage than you could with Dragapult, but like if you push yourself a little bit, I mean, I see like, there's some different Pokemon you could kind of chuck in to be doing pretty good damage. Funnily enough, you are revealing your hand, which can be kind of bad. Well, you're not revealing your whole hand, you're revealing a
Your
bunch of cards in your
Pokemon.
hand. So,
Yeah.
it could be a little sketchy, but it's not too bad there. You're not revealing your whole hand. That would be definitely worse. So yeah, I mean, I think Kecleon is cool. I don't think it's amazing, but it's probably upper C tier. I'd put it somewhere around the Rayquaza cap.
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah. And what? It's probably better than Rayquaza Cap or no?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I think my Rayquaza cap is not super good. I think it's very playable in Crustle, and that's it. Or maybe like Iron Thorns, just stuff like that. And it's not like amazing there though.
Yeah. Yeah, so Kecleon's fun. It could be its own deck. I think it probably goes in something else, but definitely, it's definitely not a bad card. It's 90 HP, so that's unfortunate. It's not tanky enough to survive many hits very often, but it's also not Buddy Buddy Puff and searchable. So
It
that
is
90
fan rotom
HP,
searchable though.
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
You probably won't do that, but it is possible.
Yeah, if you're playing a Kecleon deck, you could do that. Get your fan roton. If you go second, which I don't know that you want to do that, but you can also attack with Kecleon turn one too. So I don't know what you do there, but
Wait, what?
that's an interesting consideration.
Well, you don't end your turn. What do you say?
Well, you could. Oh, that's true. You're right. You still could attack. You can still come Crispin and
And you could do
attack.
it going
Yeah,
first with Fan Rotom as well.
yeah. It sets you up. So probably yeah. So you might want to, if you're maining Kecleon, is you're planning on attacking Kecleon turn after turn, getting a bunch in play actually is very important, right? Because you're going to keep getting knocked out every turn. So you don't want to have to be getting those Kecleons into hand. You want to be getting those other types of Pokemon to up your damage in the later turns.
Yeah. Um, so overall, I think that these, the cards are somewhat interesting. They're not super good. They're kind of bad, honestly. I've said that all about a lot of the recent sets, which is like a bad thing, I would say, right? Like there's some people like, oh, it's reverse power creep, but power creep isn't necessarily inherently bad, and also it's not like these cards are super interesting. They're not horrendously
Yeah.
uninteresting, but I'd say they're probably less interesting than the cards of like the Scarlet Violet era, in my opinion. But there are still definitely some cool things in this set.
Yeah, there's a few things. Obviously, it'd be nice if there were more things that are a little more interesting, it's even moderately viable. Like I'm fine with certainly no S tier cards and even maybe no A tier cards, but there should, I'd like to see a healthy B tier, which we definitely don't have here. But definitely some things to try. And these new stadiums with the new mechanic, two stadiums and play at once. That's an interesting move. Whether it's just trying something new, whether it actually adds to the game or not, time will tell on that. But interesting to, it's good to see something new happening in the game.
Yeah. Hopefully, these will be proved to surprise us a little. I'd say, Pitch Black was a really, really solid set there. But overall, tell us your
Yeah.
thoughts on these cards in the comment section. But we hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you check us out on our YouTube channels, Uncommon Fossil and 10 Types. Though you can listen to us on podcasting platforms if you want. But we hope you all enjoyed. And as always, we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.